Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About with Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun, the podcast where we will talk about everything. We will talk about anything. Quite frankly, we will talk about it all. And I said that, I have a cap that's a similar color to Lucky's on my head, which we're going to come back to caps in a little bit. But Lucky, once again, sporting the Scotty's Vodka visor.
It's my favorite Sunday evening visor.
That's a good look on you. It's a good look on you. We are not drinking, as we haven't been for a while, which is okay on Sunday. But we are, still madly in love with Scotty's vodka. So if you're drinking vodka, drink it, please.
Mr. Fun and I actually consumed quite a bit of Scotty's vodka yesterday. Mr. Fun was about the biggest puddle as I've seen him in a long time.
Oh, is that right?
Really?
Yes.
I did many shots of Scotty's vodka, and then my wife drove home because she wasn't drinking. And I demanded about a quarter mile from the house that she let me out because I needed to pee and couldn't make it home. So I went behind a tree. She said, "You want me to wait for you?" And I said, No, it'll do me some good to walk home. It took me about 45 minutes to walk that quarter mile home. She actually came back to look for me.
Jeez.
Yep.
That's not good.
Went to bed at 9:30. Slept for like 12 and a half hours. It's not good.
I'm the Pied Piper. I'm the Pied Piper of the Scotty bombs at our tailgate. So
Yes.
We had quite a few.
Well,
Yeah, Scotty bombs being that cup that has the Scotties in the middle and there's some other drink on the outside, or vice versa.
You poured like a few little ounces of Scotties and you put like a shooter around it. And we were drinking.
I think Biff, that the Scotty bomb is supposed to be like Scotty's in the middle and then like a mixer on the outside. But Lucky makes them with transfusions on the outside. So
it's already got vodka in the drink.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I'm sorry I missed it, guys. It was we won't dwell anything about the Maryland game where they pooped the bed once again against Nebraska after having a lead, if I'm not mistaken. The bigger news is Penn State lost the third in a row, right? They lost to Northwestern yesterday, right? And their coach is no more. James Franklin is on the open market at this point in time, which you kind of had to expect because, they're investing a lot into the program. The alum think their program is top 5 in the country, whether they are or aren't. It's debatable, obviously, but that's what they expect. So they're moving on. And who might they move on to, Bucky?
Well, the Nebraska coach who took us to the woodshed is one of the leading candidates. So, because he's got some connections to the athletic director, and I think he played at Penn State as a walk-on or something like that. So,
what about the buyout? Is it like $47 million or something? It's so much money.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, not to get into sports so early, but like the college coaches, basketball, football in particular, they have these guaranteed contracts, and if the fans are not happy, the performance is just a tad not what they expect, the coaches just get paid out, which is nuts.
It does seem nuts, but anyways, Rockfish. We jumped right ahead into a few things. Rockfish let us in with Chesapeake time yet again. He is making the migration down south this week, if I'm not mistaken, down to Florida, as the Rockfish do. So we will continue to hear from Rockfish as he's down in Florida for the winter. And again, we appreciate him letting us play Chesapeake time. Weather here on the eastern shore, as it were, is really shitty. This nor'easter that has come in has just bogged everything down here, which is crazy weather. Like hurricane strength winds for like 24 hours. It feels like around here. It's been crazy. Hopefully you guys aren't getting as much back in the DMV area itself, but it is something to behold around here as it just decimates the beaches.
Yeah, Biff, are you sheltering in place? Is it that bad?
I am sheltered in place. Luckily, I'm okay. I'm a little inland, so that's all right. And I think my beach place is far enough inland that I do not have to worry.
Did you fill the bathtub with water?
I did not.
Okay.
I filled the toilet up with pee. But that's as much as I can do.
Right.
It's one of the grossest things when people say, "Oh, okay, we're going to have power outages or whatever. Fill your tub with water." Yeah, I mean, like, can you imagine if you had to go to the bathtub and use the water for like cooking or something like that, or
you boil it,
or the toilet?
But what's that gross? You take that water and you take it out of the bathtub and put it into your toilet so it flushes. Or you put it on your stove to boil it.
Well, you don't have any power. What do you got, gas or electric?
We have I have propane for my cooking,
Oh, look
and
at
I
you.
have electric for air conditioning and the other
Look at
things.
you.
But
All right.
so I'd be okay. I would survive for about a day. Then I'd be running through the streets with my arms up in the air. Like, what do we do?
You'd be evacuating to the mainland. You'd be coming to stay with one of us over at where.
Yeah, this
I'd be the guy running in white pants.
Yeah,
You would know where I was.
they'd be dirty
You
though
would.
from all the debris. All the.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'd get down and dirty. I'd just
Hey,
run.
this conversation leads right into my joke of the day, if you don't mind.
Okay. Hey, there's a good segue.
So, so Lucky, I don't know if I told you this, but last week I went down to visit Biff. And you don't know this, he's got a palatial estate. I mean, lots of land and stuff down there. So I hear this music and I know it's him. And I look in his barn in the back of the property and I see him standing there and he's grinding to some music in front of his John Deere and he's taking his shirt off and he's pulling down his white pants and he's just grinding to the music and finally I say, dude, what are you doing? And he turns around, he's kind of embarrassed. He says, well, me and the missus were having some problems. We went to see a therapist and the therapist gave me some advice. I feel a little stupid, but gave me the advice to do something sexy and to attract her, to do something sexy to attract her.
Oh, I was like, where is this? I'm like, where's this? I'm like, what's with the John Deere reference? I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, that was good. I'll give you credit.
If all right, so Mr. Fun, if I rolled up on Biff's palatial estate and I saw him taking his clothes off and doing, I would go the other opposite direction. I wouldn't even ask him what he's doing. I would something is wrong here.
I feel like that would be an accurate depiction. I would hesitate. I would be a little bit surprised, but eventually I'd say something.
As you're driving away with the window down, you can yell out the window.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It's been a while since Lucky's actually been picked on in a joke. I think I have taken it with both barrels from you, Mr. Farm, for quite some time. So maybe by the end of this,
that was supposed to be Lucky, but then you started talking about your fear.
Because he was in Howard County. He was in probably a more agrarian part of the world than I do.
Exactly.
At this point. Where in the world is JK? JK, our Western correspondent, is in California this week in Salt Lake City, and then going to Atlanta, venturing east into the Eastern time zone on his eyelash run, delivering stuff to salons. Nice. Somewhere in the Atlanta area later this week. So I had this, speaking of going east, I had this thought the other day. I want to share with you guys about radio call signs, and whether our kids or maybe even ourselves would know what a radio call sign was, but mostly our kids. Would they be able to identify a radio station by its call letters like we would have? Like, one of the most famous ones is WFAN, right, out of New York City, right, the original fan. I think there was WOLS in Chicago. In our area in DC, it could have been WPGC. It could have been WWDC, right? Those were the actual WHFS. Do you think our kids could actually say a call sign?
No.
I think they even know what we're talking about if we said call sign.
Really?
Yeah. They wouldn't even know what that is.
Well, and at what point and what age do you think? So we're obviously in our late 50s. Do you think somebody that's 40 knows call signs? Is it 30? Where do you think it drops off?
I believe we know a core set of them, but we mostly know radio stations by their and television channels by their numbers. Like 105.7 or 99.1 or whatever. I know a handful of them, but and mostly sports ones, like the sports ones tend to be more marketable than the regular radio stations or news stations or whatever. So on the radio, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things I was thinking about because you just don't, or you hear their nicknames now. They are some other name, right? Like a lot of the stations are syndicated. So there's like, Jack FM or something like that. Here, the country stations tend to be Froggy something or other.
Yeah.
I think my kids know that radios exist outside of the car. Like, I don't even think they know you can put on a radio in your house.
Yeah. When's the last time you listened to the radio in your car?
So I do for sports. Like Lucky said, I listen to the local, 980 for Terps and, Orioles and stuff like that. Are they still 980, the Orioles? But anyway, yeah. That's the only time. Otherwise, it's what do you call it? Sirius, whatever it is.
Serious.
Yeah.
Serious
Serious.
XM.
Yeah.
There's no utility in the call signals, the letters WTEM or WBAL. There is utility in the number, like because you know what channel to turn it to, 105.7, 98
Right.
Rock. And it's so funny. Like there's some that are like 98 Rock, but the actual number is 97.9 on the dial. It's not 98.0. So that's confusing to me sometimes. Like, is it 98.9 or 97.9, when I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, as Mr. Fun said, I think most people, frankly, just understand XM Sirius. They don't even understand one of, the AM FM bands. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
Well, that's even a better question. Do our kids, do they even care about satellite radio, or is it 100% streaming for them? Meaning, is it Spotify and Apple? Or would they invest in satellite radio?
Yeah, I think if they have a car that's equipped with it, you probably question whether they're going to subscribe to it. Maybe like they get a car the first year, it's free, but after that, do they subscribe? I think most of them do. Even in the car, they stream music from their devices, through the aux cord or whatever, yeah. So you bring up a good point. I mean, is the business of radio that robust that it can still maintain all those channels?
Yeah, who knows? So,
Yeah.
anyways, sorry to go off on a tangent, but it was a thought I had. So, Lucky, but beyond my thing about radio call signals, is there anything else happening in the world?
Now, what would you do? What would you guys do if I said, not really, nothing this week? What would we do?
I got a list. I can keep going if you'd like.
I would panic and start telling random jokes.
I would talk to you about the Nobel Prize in Literature, which is the next thing on my list.
Come on.
Did you hear about this?
That's
It's Nobel Prize season. And what is Alfred Nobel famous for? I say to both of you guys, the guy that founded the Nobel Prize.
Right? Was he
Right. He invented dynamite.
Yeah.
Which is ironic given a lot of the biggest prizes, the Nobel Peace Prize. But anyways, so the Nobel Prize in Literature, I was reading about this, a Hungarian guy, and I'm going to pronounce the last name wrong, but it's Laszlo Krasznahorkai is his name. And his specialty is apocalyptic terror. That's his specialty for writing, right? And famously or infamously, I don't know how you can put that, he had a book called Hearst 07769. He wrote it as a series of letters to Angela Merkel, the German chancellor. It has just one period in 400 pages. That means it's one sentence for 400 pages.
Wait, Angela Merkel had one period?
No, stop. Okay, that was very good. But anyways,
for that book, that piece of literature?
That is just part of the thing. Well, part of the reasons he's won is that he's been this sort of avant-garde guy where he doesn't write in paragraphs and he writes on one long sentence for 400 pages. I'm like, really? Nobody's reading that.
Nobody.
I think it's just one of those kind of BS things. It's like when they give movie of the year or somebody that's a movie that 3 people saw. Like, who gives a shit at the end of the day? I just find it to be interesting that they're picking this guy.
What kind of literature did he win for?
It's like apocalyptic terror. He's a fiction guy.
Okay.
So, and he's Hungarian, and that's fine. And I'm sure there's underlying themes around going against the Hungarian ruling party and all the other stuff. But I just find it to be one of those things where it's people are trying to prove they're more intellectually superior to the rest of us.
Well, I'm going to get them. I'm going to only write something with one period.
I'm like, really? It's stupid. 400 pages is one sentence.
I just read a book on bankruptcy, and it ended abruptly at chapter 11.
Yeah.
Not chapter 7?
Not chapter 7. I went through that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So
hey, I also read a book about a completely filled cemetery. There was no plot. There's no plot at all.
No plot. Speaking of plots.
What do you call a dinosaur with a great vocabulary? A
thesaurus.
A thesaurus.
You said that last week. You literally told that joke last week.
I may have not known that.
Is it? We need a Prevagen for joke tellers.
I know.
Maybe we need a branding.
For those of you who missed last week, I'll be repeating all of my jokes from last week. Hey, what do you call an acid who's not very nice?
A what?
An acid who's not very nice.
An asset?
Yeah, acid, like acid.
Acid,
ACID.
ACID.
Yeah,
That's what?
amino acid, mean old acid.
Gosh.
Okay.
All right. Well, I do have a few things that I noticed this week, and I thought it would be relevant to bring to our podcast tonight. So the first thing, and this guy is not, I'm not a big fan of his. I've never been a big fan of his, but the LeBron announcement. So LeBron's 41 years old. He's getting towards the tail end of his career. Okay. Everybody's speculating when his, last year in the NBA is going to be. He plays for the Lakers. And he comes out and basically says, I have a major announcement to tell the world, the decision of all decisions, he referred to it as. So everyone is on bated breath waiting for his announcement, thinking this is the last year with the Lakers. It turns out that he's pitching a Hennessy, the brandy or whatever that liquor
right.
or whatever, and he freaking just totally, and it got a lot of the fans pissed off because a lot of them ran out and started buying the Lakers season tickets to be able to catch his last game, blah blah blah. And a couple of people are actually, thinking of filing legal action against him for this. And it goes back to, like, if you remember when he started his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he had that big thing with Jim Gray, and he said, "I'm going to
going to South Beach, taking my talents to South Beach."
Yeah. And, like, come on, and why does that guy? I mean, he's a great player. Why does he got to do all these gimmicky things in his life? In his career? Like, I don't. Who cares about all that? Just play the game, be a decent person. None of these trickery stuff. I think it's so stupid.
Remember when people used to ask Derek Jeter questions about the world or whatever, and he would say, nobody cares what I have to say about that, and I just thought I like great athletes who just stay in their lane. They talk about their sport, they talk about this, and for him, I don't know, he's always bothered me because he drifts into giving his opinion on a lot of stuff, and so I'm not a big fan of LeBron. I'm just not.
These two things are like almost like an abuse of the fans' passion for him and their team, and to just to leverage it to be able to get attention on Hennessy. I don't know, Biff. What about you? You a big Hennessy drinker?
Look, I think I don't disagree with you. I think that he's one thing you could say he's a pretty good marketer, right? He knows how to get eyeballs for whatever he's doing. In that case, now you could debate, to your point, if somebody was misinterpreting it as it's going to be his last season and they went out and bought tickets. I don't know. I'm not sure. I worry too much about that. I thought the point was he was either going to move to another team or, to your point, retire. Right. Look, the most surprising thing is I think he's older than 41 years old. I've always thought he was older than he said he was. He was the oldest looking 18-year-old in the history of 18-year-olds.
He had like a receding hairline, and
when he was 18, I think he's 45. I don't think he's 41 or whatever age you just said he was. I think that's the bigger issue with LeBron.
Yeah.
Look, I don't. Yeah. To your point, the politics I don't like when he ventures into that lane, and he has. I think he does. He did some of that to his, that to his peril. Some of the stuff about China and things like that. But whatever.
Yeah. LeBron is one of my least favorite sports people. I just think he's and he's so great. But anyway, so I saw that. The other big thing is, and Biff, I know you're a big Taylor Swift fan, and now that she's engaged, she released, last week, we didn't talk about this, but The Life of a Showgirl, her 12th album got out. I mean, it set all the records for the number of like sales, etc. And then she also had a movie out the same week, and it basically crushed it. I think they had $33 million in the first weekend. She's just so dominant when it comes to her craft.
And what's because the movie was around the making of the album or something like that. They were tied together, right?
Yeah.
There's more criticism about Taylor Swift now that she's even further into the pop lexicon right now with Travis Kelce and the marriage. I guess I'd say from Taylor Swift, her recent music I don't follow as much. I guess I know her primarily as a country singer, right? Which she has moved on for that, obviously. A huge following, to her credit. I saw the figures on the last tour. It was $2 billion, I think, was what she took in gross. not to mention the local economic impacts. More power to her. I mean, she can do what she wants. She has to walk a very fine line, right? Of doing things that can, and saying things. She does tip her hand into politics sometimes, but then she steps back when she feels she goes too far. So
She go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was.
You guys know
Yeah,
that. You guys know that her parents were both dwarfs. Do you guys know that? And they didn't have money. I always wondered. They struggled to put the food on the table
Okay.
because they were dwarfs.
She was getting knocked by some of her lyrics in some of the songs in her about she was referring to Travis Kelce's junk, and I was like, anyway. So, but
that's better than normal because she usually is just crucifying any guy that gets on there, somebody she's broken up with, right? That's her MO.
Yeah.
So at least they're moving forward.
Wait, she was complimenting it in her songs?
I didn't listen to the song or read too deeply into it, other than somebody critiqued her and said some of the lyrics and where she's referring to Kelce's junk, size of his wiener or something,
By the way, it must be noted that Mr. Fun might be the first, comedian in the history of jokes that tied Taylor Swift's parents to being dwarves, which is just
you didn't know that. You didn't know that.
It's such a non sequitur. I know he's trying to get the jokes in. I'm like, really? You're gonna
just the material. I mean, that's what it sounds like when they,
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of music, okay. So Rolling Stone just had a thing come out, the 10 greatest songs of the 21st century so far. So, we're basically almost into what are we? Almost a quarter way through. So okay? So I have the 10 songs in front of me. Just see if you guys can pull one. So we're something that started as early as 2000. So something between 2000 and 2025.
I might hazard a guess that I don't know any of the top 10.
You would be able to pull them.
Maybe there's a Taylor Swift song on there. Maybe it's that Romeo and Juliet song.
Not that. All Too Well, which I don't even know what song that is. I'm sure we've heard it. All Too Well is number 5 on the list. That's Taylor Swift from 2010.
Right.
Any polls?
Is the Empire State of Mind song, the song with Jay-Z and
Beyonce?
What was her? Who was the female?
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
And Beyonce.
That Crazy in Love is the one. Is
okay. So look at that. I did know something, but it's gonna be now I'm getting old because I just don't know some of the pop stuff.
You're gonna know some of these. Okay, so I'll go through them real quick. Frank Ocean, Thinking About You, 2000. I'll be thinking about you.
Okay.
That one. Right. Britney Spears, Toxic.
Oh.
Okay. Radiohead, Idiotech.
I'm not a huge Radiohead fan. I know that's Tom York is the guy. I just never liked them as much. That's
from 2000. Kendrick Lamar's All Right.
Don't know.
Okay. Robin with a Y, Dancing on My Own is coming in number 6. Taylor Swift, All Too Well, number 5. This one, The White Stripes, 7 Nation Army.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good song. I'm surprised that was on the list. I like the song. Beyonce and Jay-Z, Crazy in Love. Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs, Maps from 2003.
Yeah, but I mean that's a fine song. Yeah, as female group, but it's not top 10 in the first quarter century.
Yeah. Well, number 1 is Missy Elliott's "Get Your Freak On," 2001.
I know that one.
Yeah, but I don't know.
So funny. So when the town I lived in New Jersey, Kinwan, Missy Elliott lived there. She lived in this big house in Kinwan, New Jersey, and she goes to the car wash. And a friend of ours goes down to the car wash, and she's got a Bentley, I think it is running through the car wash. And he goes up to her and says, "That's a really nice car." He introduces himself. His name, coincidentally, is Chris as well. And she goes, "I'm Missy Elliott." And he keeps talking. He goes, "Well, Mrs. Elliott."
He didn't know.
He didn't know who she was.
That's funny.
So anyway,
that's funny. All right. This one I saw, and Biff, you might appreciate this, and I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, have it on your list. This big social media phenomena trend going on about eating pudding with a fork. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
So pudding being the Jell-O pudding, or not pudding as in the British dessert, which is called pudding.
Yeah, no, the Jello-esque kind of stuff, the brown,
Okay.
gooey stuff, the chocolate stuff. But okay, so it's interesting how this started and how fast it's like exploded. But they basically it started in August 2025 in a small southwestern German city, and somebody just put a flyer on around the town saying, "Hey, we're gonna meet and bring your pudding and bring your fork." And everybody's like, "What is this?" But a bunch of people ended up showing up, and again, have you ever eaten pudding with a fork?
No.
I
It's
wouldn't think, because
difficult.
usually, I guess I'd probably say no, because usually the dishes are round on the edges, so you want a spoon. I suppose you could if it was flat on a plate, but why
But
would you?
but maybe it's also hard to like scoop it up because it'll
Right,
go
right.
through the what do they call them, the fork, the prongs. But
Tines, yeah.
times, there you go. But anyway, this happened in over the summer, and it's continuing to just go crazy. And I appreciate some of the sentiment behind it, because basically it forces people to be in awkward positions, and to like it takes a little time to do it. So it is actually it's like a really cheap, inexpensive way to get people to engage with each other. And so, but it's basically going all over Europe. It's starting to pop up in like university towns. Syracuse had a big a meeting of this. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Wait.
Cool.
People are
It's
having fun doing this?
it's the bringing people together to do something weird and absurd, and as a result of it, people are engaging in new and creative ways.
I don't believe it would be fun, but I guess the proof is in the
In the
pudding.
pudding. Yes.
Good one.
They should do it more like, I understand sort of the concept of what you're saying there, because it's different. You can eat most of the pudding with a fork. Again, it'd be harder if it was on a round dish, like I was saying before. It'd be better if it was like eating pudding with the chopsticks, right?
Yeah.
That would be more social, right? You'd have to sit there and try to get this pudding up with a chopstick. But, people do what they want to do.
Let me ask you. You go to Wendy's, you get yourself a Frosty. Are you sucking it through your straw, or are you eating it with a spoon?
You have to eat
Oh,
it
they're
with
too thick.
Yeah.
A combination of the two?
Yeah.
If it
Well,
melts,
if you
maybe.
can,
But
yeah, you got to, the early part of the Frosty, you got to eat with a spoon because it's too thick.
I refuse to
Can't get
give
it through the
into it.
straw.
I dunk my straw in and then eat it off the straw. Like when you said chopsticks, it reminded me of that. I put the straw in,
Oh.
I eat it. I put the straw in, I eat it. I don't even
Yeah.
grab the spoon because I don't want to be tempted. I don't want to be tempted to use the spoon.
We talked about it, and you're not a French fries and the Frosty guy. Some people do that.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
all right. And I got one more thing. So this will be the third week of our talk about tops. And so the topic is thing we wish we weren't too old for, given that we're starting to get up there in age. And what are some of the things that you wish we weren't too old to do? Now, maybe we try to do them. I don't know, but somebody would look at us and say those guys are too old to do that. But what do Mr. Fun? What comes to mind? And we'll go Mr. Fun, Biff. We'll go round robin until we can't get anything else.
I used to love. Well, sorry. I know but there's an answer here. I used to love roller coasters, and I would say I could go on the tallest, fastest roller coasters in the country. And now I'm afraid of heights. I don't know what happened to me, but I'm too old to go on roller coasters right now.
Yep. Biff, what do you got?
I would say a lot of sports that I used to enjoy. My body can't take them. They're just, I've gotten too old for that.
Okay.
There are things like that I wish I could do still.
Okay. Here are my two. 24-year-olds.
Jeez.
And according and in the same ballpark, crazy sex positions.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you don't see 60-year-olds banging out, all kinds of like, all the crazy stuff.
Maybe you should do something sexy to attract her.
Attract her, yeah, we should.
Yeah, it's very good.
What other one you got, Mr. Fun?
So when I learned to scuba dive, I just knew I was going to go under something, like in something. They warn you, like you need a new scuba diver has to have open water above him. And I was like, I want to dive in wrecks. I want to go in caves. And now I would never, ever think to do that. So I'm too old for that. I'm too old.
I guess I'd say I feel like I'm too old for horror films. I just don't see the enjoyment. I just don't.
That's good.
That's a good one.
See it.
That's
My couple my couple more I had college bars, which Mr. Fun and I try to
try.
pretend like we're not too old for the college bars.
Yes.
Kickball leagues. Like, do you
Oh.
see 60-year-old kickball leagues? You know, it's all that's a
Ball
number.
leagues.
Yeah. And the 2-day drinking bender. Like, I'm a really good 1-day drinker, but if I had to drink heavy for 2 days, I can't make it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but then
can't
back
either.
in the day, I could do that like nobody's business.
Yeah. I'd say I'm too old to stay till an end of a sporting event and or a concert
Wow.
because I worry about the traffic. It's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, kids now, you guys got to help me out. Maybe our audience can. When we had parties in college, when did they start? They start now, Biffer, at 11 o'clock. That's so late. They have class the next day. Their parties start at 11.
So I think I don't think we're giving ourselves credit, if you want to call it credit. I think ours started later than you remember.
Yeah?
Because I remember when I was a senior in college and I had a big course load and I had figured out that I could study until 9 or 10 o'clock and then go out.
Wow. Okay.
So and so I think things started later as opposed to meaning the official party as opposed to drinking beforehand. So I think we were probably 10 o'clock is my guess before things really kicked into gear.
Yeah, but Mr. Fun, you were a social chairman in our fraternity. Don't you remember the 1 o'clock club, the 3 o'clock clubs,
Yeah,
where
but I
we'd go
thought
to the
those
bar?
were-
And
I
then
thought those were such exceptions to the rules. If I had to guess, I thought our party started at 9, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, they may have started at 9. Are you suggesting that the parties don't actually have a starting time until 11 or people just don't go until 11 today?
No, they start at 11. They start at 11. Now they pregame. You can pregame and go, but the
Yeah.
official start time is 11. That's so late.
but if it starts at 11, you don't want to be the first one there. So you really the party's getting going at 12.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow.
So so this week had I went to had to run some errands and we ended up in a shopping center that had a Texas Roadhouse in it, which I've seen. And if you recall in our death row meals, I'm a big fan of country fried steak. I actually like that. I like it traditionally, which is basically a fried hamburger, but you know they do it with sirloin. And Texas Roadhouse went in there, and I'll say really enjoyed it. It was in a shopping center. We probably went around 7:30 or so. It was crowded. They provided good service, but it's not what you call a 4-star restaurant. But it was really good. And it made me think about restaurants like that are, you know, what would you go to it's like an old reliable for you that many people that read books that have one period over 400 pages would look down at you upon. What sort of restaurant is that for
Well,
you
wait,
guys?
Biff, before you pass on the Roadhouse, did they have the tumbleweed? Which is
Is that the Onion?
it's the bloomin' onion that they used to serve.
Yeah, they
that's
have
Outback.
that. So funny. So Mrs. Biff and I are there, and we're gonna get an appetizer, and they had the onion. I don't know if they called it tumbleweed, whatever. We're talking about the same thing. And then they had fried pickles. And in Delaware, like many places, they put on the number of calories on the
Oh.
food, and the fried onion 2,500 calories as the appetizer, versus the fried pickles, which was 500 something. Like we're having fried pickles.
Yeah,
But I do like a bloomin' onion. I will say that a fried onion is a very good
I
thing.
remember that place. I went there once, and I didn't love it, but I didn't have the country fried steak.
I had a country fried steak. It
Yeah.
was very good. It
Yeah.
was very good.
You can't go wrong with those places. I mean, like I like Outback Steakhouse, and people are like, "Oh, well, this meat's not good." I think the meat, it's not as good as a 4 or 5-star restaurant. But if you want a steak, a baked potato, and a salad, it's fine.
Olive Garden. You guys fans of Olive Garden?
No, never have been.
Really?
I always say my problem is with Olive Garden isn't the thought of a fast, casual Italian restaurant. I actually like Macaroni Grill better. Olive Garden to me was always just too bright. You walked in there, it was just too much lighting. But it was just never my
You know
my
me. I
thing.
like free stuff. So free salad and breadsticks. That's heaven.
Yeah, that turns me off. The bottomless whatever at any restaurant totally turns me off because
So
it's
funny. I
not.
live for it. So mine is anybody from my area where I grew up would tell you whether you loved it or hate it, you have a special place in your heart for White Castle. You have to go get White Castle. And if you grew up eating White Castle, you know it. You know what I'm talking about. It's so good. It's so good.
And I think the places like that are great. They have a special recipe for their burgers, right? That small medium bag or whatever they call that thing with the burgers have onions in them, right? Don't
Yeah,
they?
but I would think if you tried it for your first time at noon for lunch, you don't
Yeah,
get it. And you have to
yeah.
try it with a bit of a buzz on your first time. Then you're hooked.
Yeah. And I would say just generically, any diner I think is a guilty pleasure.
Yes.
I love diners. I
Yes.
just think diners are the best. So good.
Yeah.
So that was one. The other one is, and as I alluded to at the beginning, I'm wearing a hat. I don't know what got me on this thought about. So I've got these things where I put my hats up in the closet. I've got the you can kind of hang them so they're not disorganized. And I'm like, well, how many hats do I have? And I actually thought I had a lot of hats, and I counted them. I had 20 hats, and I'm talking about baseball cap hats that I have between in my closet, and I've got some in the garage near my golf stuff. So, how many hats and visors? I sent the question out to you guys. What do you have? And Lucky, I'm gonna go with you first because it was mind-boggling.
Well, I'm a big visor person, but I
Right.
used to wear hats. But I went and
Right.
did my count. I have 23 visors and 38 hats.
See, you have 61 things to put on your head.
Yep.
Okay. And Mr. Fun, we'll come back to you, Lucky. What do you have? Do you think?
29 baseball hats. I have one bucket hat and one visor.
Okay. So, a while back it was like the number of belts I had, which was in the 20 plus range.
Right.
But what makes your 61 hats and visors, Lucky? Now you can't wear. I mean, you wear one a week, right? For a year and 2 months.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your 61? Do you how many are there? 10 in rotation, 20 in rotation?
6 hats and probably about 15 to 18 visors
If
that are in rotation.
if you had
In
an
rotation.
intervention from a trusted family member, how many would they tell you to get rid of that you never wear?
Okay, hats for me are something I'd never get rid of. I can't throw away something that I've really enjoyed, even though I don't wear it anymore. So that's why I still have them. I still
Mhm.
have, a bunch of the hats that I wore when I was a little league coach, and my son, who's now 24,
Right.
so we had the same hats. I have that hat. Like they have sentimental value to me, even though I would never wear them again.
Okay.
I got another
All
question
right.
because I looked at my hats today, and there are some that I now go, I picked that out from a group of hats. Like that to me was the best looking hat, and now it's really ugly. Do you have
Yeah.
ugly hats that you?
Yeah.
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 What
Yeah, I have a couple. I have thinned the herd of my hats for sure, and I give them away. I do. I will say I give.
Who do
my
you give
hats
them
away.
to?
I put them to Goodwill.
See, I could not, and I've seen this before, but I also save like stuff from my kids' schools, like they played sports or whatever. And can you imagine, like, you had so much pride sending your kid to a school, or you had so much pride wearing a hat with something on it, and it ends up at Goodwill? And, like if you're a rank and file person, you go in, you see, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's a Scotty's vodka hat in the Goodwill bin.
It happens. Yeah. Wait. What else? I mean, you either throw it away or give it to somebody else. So Mr. Fun, funny enough, he bought a condominium at the beach, and for about the first summer, he came down to the beach wearing a hat that said Kentucky on it. And I go to Mr. Fun and go, "Have you ever been to Kentucky?" Oh, I go, "Where'd you get the hat from?" Somebody left it in his condominium.
That's gross.
He wore that hat for a good summer, maybe even in the next year.
You wore somebody else's hat?
Preface this. I wasn't really a beach guy. And so when I first started going down there, I didn't pack a hat. So I started wearing the hat, and then I liked the way it fit my head. So I
Okay.
just started
But
with
did you? Okay, let's go further on this. He had a pair of Crocs he wore. Didn't somebody leave the Crocs in your place too?
No, I found those. So on Sundays, the rich people, they don't they don't take the stuff they brought home with them. They just leave it next to the trash can. And I was like, these are perfectly good Crocs. So now,
You like somebody's disposing of a beach chair because it was cheaper to buy than
I
a
have
red?
2 chairs. I have 2 chairs, a pair of Crocs, and a baseball, and I
Wrong with
love
you.
them. I love them.
What are you going to do if you're wearing your Kentucky hat or your Crocs and somebody says, hey, wait a minute?
The Goodwill. I'll be
That
hanging
looks
out
like
at
my hat.
I'll be hanging out at
but
the Goodwill store wearing my Kentucky hat.
So I shared that story. I think I shared it before, but it bears repeating. So I were in New Jersey, and I'd been given this sweatshirt with from the guys that work for New York Fire Department. They did some driving for us in the business, right? They were our personal drivers for events. So I get this big sweatshirt. It was huge. It was like an XL, and I'm not anywhere near XL. And it had my name engraved on or it was embroidered on the chest. And so I give it away though, because I just can't fit into it. It's too big. And I give it away, and I'm at a restaurant, and I look over, and the guy's got my sweatshirt on.
He's
A
obviously
random guy.
He's obviously
didn't
more
know.
muscular than you, like a bigger chest,
Random guy.
bigger chest.
Random. I knew who the guy was because I'd seen him before in town, but he had my sweatshirt on
That's
that I'd
so
given away
funny.
to Goodwill. So it happened. So, anyways, so enough with that stuff, Mr. Fun.
Yeah.
Gosh, we've been going on here. You have some jokes to bring us home?
Hey Biff, how do you
Thanks.
How do you say virgin in German?
Lucky.
Guten Tag. Guten Tag.
An attempt to like start throwing some humor my way, huh?
Yeah, I just tried to get it. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Hey, do you know that saying? If a chick sleeps with 10 guys, she's a slut. And if a guy did the same thing, he'd be gay.
That's pretty good. I like that.
That's good. That's very good. So, Lucky, how do they get a hold of us?
Talkabout2023@gmail.com. Keep the emails coming. It's nice to see them every week. And again,
Yeah.
It gives us some good ideas and good feedback on the stuff we talked about. So thank you.
Absolutely. Have missed you guys. We're seeing each other again remotely here, but we will continue to do this. I think episode 146. I am almost sure that's where we are right now. So we are reaching a milestone in a few weeks on episode 150, which is hard to imagine. 150 weeks in a row we have done this. But we are getting there, and I'm thrilled about that. Everybody can find us on YouTube, on the podcast platforms. Please like and subscribe. We would appreciate that. The shorts that we put out there, this week's one got a good response out there. Had quite a few views of our short video on YouTube, and we will continue to do that. Mr. Fun, any last words of wisdom from you?
Nope. Just please share, like, comment. We really want to grow our viewer and listenership and could use your help.
Absolutely. We know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Mr. Fun, just real quick. The improv is when?
So I decided to wait until after the summer. And now I'm
Of what year?
And now I'm on the waiting list. And so it fills up really quick. So,
okay.
We'll get on there. We'll take the classes and we'll perform. Meanwhile, I might do something at one of these open mics in Bethesda. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, that would be exciting. I hope you do that because it is a leap for sure to do that. And we'll be right behind you. So good. All right, guys. Again, great to see you. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And until we do it again next week, let me say goodbye. All right. Let's go into the outro, gentlemen, as we do. We haven't, just briefly, you guys went to the football game yesterday. Was it the game while watching it on TV? I will say this, just seemed like it was missing some enthusiasm. Was that true in the stadium, or was the crowd? How was the crowd?
It's fall break, so no students were there.
Okay. Crowd wasn't that bad when you looked at the stadium. I mean, a little bit different than it was last week with but so many Nebraska fans.
That's incredible.
When they started doing well, it was like more of them than us. It was like,
they showed that on TV. I was shocked how many Nebraska fans were there. Now, granted, Nebraska has a big football following. It's not a very big state, though, and they're 1,500 miles from here.
Yeah,
it's incredible that they have that many, and there's not that many in Nebraska along in the D.C. area.
I don't remember a lot of the game because, as Lucky alluded to the fact, I may have been a little bit sloshed from the tailgate, but yeah, it just didn't. And you knew it was happening again. I hate being a Terp fan because you're more likely to not hold the lead, and that's what's so frustrating because we're winning again.
Yeah. It is. It's too bad. So, but maybe that eyes start opening up with James Franklin who was arguably probably one of the top 10 probably compensated coaches in the country, but if not on a top 10 program getting canned after 3 weeks.
I read today, though, and this is just somebody speculating, of course, we fire Loxley, we lose the quarterback. That's what I read today.
Well, I had heard that too. I had heard that that's his leverage. So, and I suppose if that's the case, you have to take that risk sometimes, but we'll see. So, anyways, but that was, don't want to dwell too much on that in the outro, because this is really our opportunity to thank everybody for listening yet again, right? And wishing them that they would join us again next week. Isn't that right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do in the
And
outro.
I also want to thank Scotty's Vodka. They are so generous. Our primary sponsor. Saw Jen and Scotty this weekend. Again, it's nice to have Scotty's backing.
And
That's
and
excellent.
Biff, me and Lucky got to see each other, but you were like what happens when you boil water. You were missed.
Okay, thank you. I suppose I should be happy about that one, because it's not like I took a buttload of something.
You took a what?
Take us out.
A boat? A buttload?
Yeah, that was last week's joke.
Did he say you took a buttload of something? What is that?
Because no, I said at least I didn't take a buttload or something like he said last week.
What
So
is this? What is
I'll take-
taking a buttload?
Don't you remember the joke?
It was,
That was the
it was
joke
how much
last week.
semen. How much semen does Biff have? A buttload.
Yeah. So yeah.
A
That's what it is.
buttload.
So, anyway.
Just to hear you say it like that, it's not like I'm
Okay.
taking a buttload of something.
Okay. All right. Anyways, this again is the time we hope everybody joins us again next week for another episode where we talk about everything, anything, and anything, or whatever it is at all. I don't care at this point. At this
We're
point,
talking
I'm done.
about buttloads of something.
We never say it. So, all right, guys.
Goodbye.
Great to catch up with you. See ya. Bye.
He said